I want to thank Youth for Christ for providing the opportunity to share about my journey with God and how the YFC Workforces programs plays a role in that story. I believed in God, but never took him seriously. I guess you can say I was forced into going to church till I was 12, and that is when I started smoking weed. It started as most bad habits do, once a month at first, and then once a week, and it became eventually every day. It got so bad to the point where I would smoke weed and not like how I felt, but even still, I continued to smoke a lot of weed. It went on for about 3 years until I was at my worst place last year. I started skipping school like every day to stay home and smoke up. And as you can imagine, I grew progressively more miserable as to the point where I almost dropped out of school. And at my school, I honestly love my school. It's a great opportunity, and I would honestly hate myself if I did that. So, yeah, that shows that my habit of weed had robbed all my joy from my life. It was during this time that I started going to Workforce, a program of YFC in the North End. At first, I just went because I needed money for the summer, and I had heard you can get a job placements through the program, and I came to Workforce whenever they were running, and if I didn't get a placement, I would just go with a buddy and just smoke up. One day, one of the leaders there, his name was Simeon, and he'd come over and he struck up a conversation. He seemed to really, he seemed really interested in my life and made me feel welcome. Every time I came to Workforce, Simeon made a point to spend some time with me, and we became friends. I believe there was a God, and if asked, considered myself a Christian, but when I look back, I never dedicated any time or energy to engage in the faith. I had a lot of questions, and Simeon had a lot of answers. So I know now God was using that relationship at Workforce to teach me more about God. The first time I really knew God was speaking to me in the moment was last year. My dad shared his testimony at an event in this building actually, and he talked about how he stopped drinking alcohol because of the power of God. He prepared a speech that I don't remember most of the speech, but the things that stuck out to me was he said that you can't go sober alone. You can't go on this journey without people of God and God himself. And you always have to give back to God as much as he gives to you. And my dad was looking at me when he said that, straight into my eyes. And this really hit me hard as I was still struggling with my addiction. He says he doesn't remember that exact moment, but I do. I couldn't stop thinking about his speech during the day. While sitting in the car later that day, I told my mom that I haven't smoked weed all day, and she gave a happy response. So I told her why, and she continued saying, "Oh my God, you want me to ask your dad to pray for you?" And I was like, no, I don't know. And then you don't have to. And then hearing a part of the conversation while getting into the car, my dad asked, "You don't have to what?" And my mom quickly told him what we were talking about and asked him, he wants you to pray for him. And I thought in my head, oh my gosh. But I was like, okay, I guess. So then my dad started getting emotional and he said, "I wanted to inspire one person, but I never thought it would be one of my own children." So he grabbed both my hands and he said, "I'll pray for you." I'll never forget his words. He said, "God, Chandler welcomes you in his heart, and he wants you to be there for him and with him till his day's end. It was so powerful because I felt a presence flow from his heart to my heart, and I actually felt it flow through my arms to my heart, and I started crying out of shame because of how much times I rejected God, and like he just keeps coming back to me. And so yeah, and then after a while I started crying out of joy because I felt as if he was telling me, don't cry for the past, but instead cry for the future. There has been a lot of up and downs, but I've always managed to find my way back to God because of this program. And when I went back to workforce and told the staff there what happened, they were so happy for me. And I still had a lot of questions, but they were happy to listen and share God's word with me, which I'm super thankful for. I feel like they have been my guide on this new journey of mine. And actually something incredible happened this past summer while I was working at Workforce. So that was Simeon that baptized me, and I'm so thankful that God has a plan for my life, and he took a kid who was confused and hooked on weed and made him his own child. I have hope for my future. I have wonderful friends and mentors at Workforce, and while I'm still learning, while I still have to learn so much, I know God is leading me, and I'm so thankful for everyone who's helping me during this path of mine. Thanks for listening, and thank you for supporting the work at YFC, and now you're all a part of my story. Thank you.